Imagine spending years searching for the perfect investment, only to discover you ignored the one asset that should have come first. Most people begin with stocks, businesses, or real estate, but the wealthiest people quietly build something far more valuable before buying any of them, and almost nobody talks about it. People often believe wealth begins with money. It doesn't. Money only multiplies what already exists. If your knowledge, discipline, and decision-making are weak, more money simply magnifies expensive mistakes. That's why the first asset isn't something you buy, it's something you build inside yourself. Think of your mind as the engine of your financial future. Every investment, every business decision, and every opportunity passes through it first. Improve the engine, and every future decision becomes stronger. Ignore it, and even the best opportunities can quietly disappear without creating lasting wealth. Before buying your first stock, property, or business, ask yourself one question. Have you built the person capable of managing them wisely? Wealth doesn't simply reward ownership, it rewards preparation. And the better prepared you become, the more valuable every future investment will be. Imagine giving two people the exact same investment opportunity. One builds wealth, while the other loses money. The difference isn't the investment itself, it's the person making the decision. That's why your first asset is your financial thinking. Better thinking creates better decisions, and better decisions create lasting wealth. Every book you read, every financial lesson you learn, and every skill you develop quietly increases the value of every future paycheck. Knowledge doesn't just help you earn more, it helps you keep more, invest better, avoid expensive mistakes, and recognize opportunities that others never notice. Think about the greatest investors in history. Before they built fortunes, they built judgment. They trained themselves to stay calm during fear, patient during uncertainty, and disciplined during success. Those invisible qualities became the foundation upon which every visible fortune was eventually built. So perhaps the first asset isn't a stock certificate, a rental property, or even a business. Perhaps it's becoming the kind of person who can manage all of them wisely. Once you've built that asset, every investment that follows has a far greater chance of changing your future. Most assets can be taken away. Markets crash, businesses fail, properties lose value. But the ability to learn, adapt, and create value can keep generating income almost anywhere. That's why the first asset is so powerful. It travels with you, grows with you, and keeps paying long after specific opportunities disappear. Think about the highest return investment you've ever heard of. Few can consistently outperform a valuable skill developed over decades. A useful skill can increase your income, improve your decisions, create opportunities, and reduce financial stress, all at the same time. That's compounding in its purest form. Wealth often appears to come from one lucky opportunity. In reality, it's usually the result of preparation meeting opportunity. The person who has built valuable skills notices chances that others ignore. They act faster, make better decisions, and recover from mistakes more easily. This changes the entire order of wealth building. Instead of asking, "What should I invest in?" ask, "What should I become?" The stronger the person, the stronger every future investment becomes. Build the asset that makes all other assets easier to acquire, manage, and grow. Every day, your mind is making tiny financial decisions you barely notice, whether to save or spend, learn or scroll, invest or delay. Each choice seems insignificant alone, yet together they quietly determine the direction of your financial future. Great wealth is rarely built through one decision. It grows through thousands of consistent ones. Knowledge becomes valuable only when it changes your behavior. Reading about investing doesn't build wealth. Acting on what you've learned does. The gap between knowing and doing is where many financial dreams quietly disappear. Your first asset grows stronger every time knowledge becomes disciplined action. Successful investors rarely have perfect information. They simply make thoughtful decisions, learn from the results, and improve continuously. Your first asset isn't perfection, it's the ability to adapt. Every lesson strengthens your judgment, making future financial decisions smarter than the last. Once you've built a valuable mind, every future paycheck becomes more powerful. Every investment becomes more intelligent. Every opportunity becomes easier to recognize. That's why the greatest return on investment isn't measured only in dollars. It's measured in the person you become while building wealth. A valuable mind should never remain an unused asset. The next step is converting what you know into something that creates value for others. Every skill can become a service. Every solution can become income, and every experience can become an opportunity. Wealth begins when knowledge starts producing real-world value. Money follows value. The more problems you can solve, the more opportunities naturally come your way. That's why successful people invest years improving their abilities before expecting extraordinary rewards. They understand that increasing personal value eventually increases financial value as well. Once your skills begin producing income, don't stop there. Allow that income to purchase assets. Then allow those assets to produce even more income. This is where the wealth cycle truly begins. Your knowledge creates money, and your money quietly creates more money. Notice how everything started with one invisible asset, your ability to learn. Without it, there would be no better income, no wiser investments, and no stronger financial future. That's why the first asset isn't measured on a balance sheet. It's measured by the value you continuously build within yourself. Imagine losing every investment tomorrow. Difficult? Absolutely. But if you've built the right knowledge, discipline, and skills, you can build everything again. That's the hidden advantage of your first asset. It doesn't disappear with market crashes because it's stored in your mind, not in your portfolio. Markets reward patience more often than speed. The strongest financial advantage isn't reacting first, it's understanding better. When your first asset is strong, temporary fear no longer controls permanent decisions. That's why calm thinking consistently outperforms emotional investing over long periods of time. Every skill you develop today continues paying dividends tomorrow. Unlike money, knowledge compounds every time you use it. The more you apply it, the sharper your judgment becomes. Eventually, your experience itself becomes an asset that keeps increasing the value of every future financial decision. The first asset isn't the one that makes you rich overnight. It's the one that quietly improves every paycheck, every investment, every opportunity, and every decision for the rest of your life. Build that first, and every other asset becomes easier to create, protect, and grow. 1 year from today, your bank balance may look different, but something even more important can change: your ability to create wealth. Money can come and go. The person capable of producing value keeps moving forward. That's why building yourself first is the investment that keeps paying for a lifetime. When people ask, what's the best investment? They often expect the name of a stock or a company. But the greatest investment is becoming the kind of person who recognizes opportunities before everyone else. Better judgment creates better timing, and better timing changes financial outcomes. Notice how every great financial story begins long before money appears. It begins with curiosity, learning, discipline, and action. Wealth is usually the visible result. Personal growth is the invisible cause. Ignore the cause, and the result rarely lasts. Strengthen the cause, and the results naturally follow.
So, if someone offered you $1 million or the ability to repeatedly create $1 million, which would you choose? The first eventually runs out. The second keeps producing value for decades. That's why your first asset should never be money. It should be the ability to create it.
At the beginning of this journey, you were searching for the first financial asset to own. Now the answer is completely different. The first asset was never outside you. It was the ability to think clearly, learn continuously, make disciplined decisions, and turn knowledge into value. Everything else grows from that foundation. The wealthiest people don't simply own better investments, they become better investors. That's the real advantage. When your judgment improves, every future paycheck becomes more valuable, every investment becomes wiser, and every financial opportunity becomes easier to recognize. Your greatest investment is the person making every financial decision. Years from now, you probably won't remember your first investment, but you'll remember the habits, discipline, and knowledge that made every future investment possible. Those invisible assets quietly shaped every financial decision you made, and in the end, they became the foundation beneath every visible success. Before buying your next investment, build the person who will manage it. That's the first asset every wealthy life is built upon. When you invest in your mind, every future dollar gains a stronger foundation. If this changed the way you think about money, subscribe and continue building wealth, one smart decision at a time.